righty, hello and welcome to episode 6 of the Outside the Numbers podcast. I'm Shelby Allen.
I'm Ethan Manjuri.
And today we're going to be looking over a lot of news. Things finally started to pick up this week. And we're going to recap last week's episode where we drafted free agents, equal opportunity. Not only equal opportunity, Ethan won the coin toss. And still,
the coin toss and our discussion of whose team was better.
Yeah, you actually did. I think we walked away from that feeling like you had maybe 3 position groups that were better than mine, and I had like 1, and that was quarterback. But the peoples have voted, and a whopping 82% went to my team, headlined by Lamar Jackson. Do you have a speech or anything to resign? I mean, it's over.
I understand that you had the 2 offensive linemen, and so you had a lot more protection. But come on. I mean, Lamar's not the whole team. He's got nobody to throw to. Running back room was okay.
But it was pretty good. It wasn't as good as yours, but it was pretty good.
But it's still not as good as mine, right? Mm-hmm. So I don't understand. I'm confused. I feel like the people have betrayed me, but I'll just get over it and wipe my tears.
Yeah, I mean, that's the only choice. You know, it's a tough place to be. I do feel for you, and I will say, if it had been a tally of who won skill group or skill positions, who won this and that divided up, it would have been a runaway. But you put Lamar Jackson on a team, and the people they made the right choice. But yeah, we have that out of the way. I think everybody. A lot of people on that list have been signed. I know Alan Lazard, Miles Sanders got picked up by, was that your Carolina Panthers, correct?
Yeah, he's in the NFC South now.
Yep, and Lazard to the New York Jets. That's a lot to get to. We should just dive right in on because it's what everybody's talking about. It is the cryptic talks from Aaron Rodgers that finally sound like you could almost be certain, but unlike any other player in the NFL, he can't just come out and say it. It's like, I've been wanting to play for the Jets for a week now, and that's as far as it goes. So,
which is super close, and we have the screenshot we can throw in here. But you totally called it. You were like, he's going on the show at 1 or whatever. He's probably going to announce it then. And sure enough, he's like, my full intention was to play for the New York Jets. And I'm like, why?
Okay, and he framed it because I watched this live, right? And he framed it in a way of like, it's the media and it's these, it's Adam Schefter and all these reporters. They're the reason why I'm the way I am. And it's like, dude, look, you're the only one that can't just make a decision and do it. It's so frustrating. It actually drives me crazy. But that said, we can call him a New York Jet, and how do you see them? What do you think their ceiling is with Rodgers?
I mean, like I said in earlier episodes, I didn't see it happening simply because the Jets have such a poor history. And why would you want to go spend the last years of your career when you're trying to nail your legacy down, chase those last few opportunities for a championship, and you're going to go to the Jets? I don't get it. I don't understand the decision. I didn't think it would happen. Lots of people were talking about it really early on and said it made sense, and I didn't think so. But apparently I know nothing. So
yeah, your GM skills got put to the test. So I can see it only from the angle of, the stakes are higher. You basically, if you succeed, you've turned around a franchise that literally has not had a franchise quarterback since Joe Namath. You can basically undo. I was telling this to somebody the other day. I'm like, he literally, the second the pen hits paper, I believe that he is the best quarterback in New York Jets history. I'd be very curious to hear a case for Chad Pennington or Mark Sanchez or Testaverde or, even Joe Namath. It's like,
Mark.
Yeah. No, definitely not Mark. Yeah, nobody's
Mark
making that
Sanchez
case.
Has the butt fumble, and that's
iconic.
On its own. Hall of Fame for
Yeah,
entertainment.
that's the Jets quarterback Hall of Fame presence is the Buffalo
Yeah,
Bills. Yeah. So Aaron Rodgers, I mean, if he does pull it together and he gets his wish list, which he also denied on the McAfee show, he was like, "Oh yeah, they Schefter said I had this list of 4 people. I didn't say any of that." And he drives me insane. I if I go into it, it's just gonna drag on. But he said he didn't provide a wish list. Schefter put out a wish list that had Lazard, Odell Beckham, Randall Cobb, and Mercedes Lewis were the 4 people that they were saying that Rodgers had told the Jets he wanted those 4. And then that would be the conditions on which he'd sign with the Jets. And then the news comes out like a day later that's like the Jets sign Alan Lazard. That's like, okay, well, you could say you didn't ask them for that, but like it's a little random of them to pick up Lazard right after that. So
it's like everybody in the comments was like, "Oh, so Aaron Rodgers is going to go to the Jets now?"
right. Yeah.
Like, this is so clear. Just make it happen already. But
he wants to be
it'd be
coy.
interesting to see if they go after OBJ. If they start building up that offense, then it starts getting really interesting.
Yeah, and like some young rookies, and they've got I mean, I think his name is Mekhi Becton, like a pretty high picked tackle from a year ago that didn't play with injuries that's coming back, and then obviously help me out here if you can, the running back, the Brett. I was about to say Bryce Hall. That is incorrect, right?
Yeah.
Brees Hall? Is it Brees? I think it's Brees Hall.
Brees.
That had he was on pace for a record-breaking rookie season and got injured halfway through. I mean, there is potential for people to come back, Rodgers to be plugged in, and obviously Russell Wilson has showed us that plug and play does not always result in an immediate playoff push. But I don't know, it's exciting, and I hate to say it, but I almost can see myself rooting for the Jets.
Wow.
With Rodgers, only for the Jets fans, not for the sake of Rodgers, but they could just be a lot of fun.
Do you think he's trying to repeat what Brady did?
If so, I just can't see that working out.
Really
even almost as similar. Yeah,
although
really they might bold. They're similarly prepared for a playoff push in the way Tampa was. Like they had Mike Evans and Godwin. And there's decent receiver. I mean, maybe not as good, but there's a receiving core that could get him there.
Well, and they still have time to build it.
Yeah.
We still don't know how good it could be. So
well, I can't get I can't go further in on Rodgers, but do you want to take us through a few other headlines from around the league?
Yeah, big one was Baker Mayfield to the Bucs. We disagree on this. I think they're going to start him. And he's going to be he's their guy. He's who they're going with.
So I don't think so. I think it's Kyle. I think they put out Kyle Trask or draft somebody or sign somebody else. But I don't think there's. I mean, that maybe they do it, but in terms of like trying to figure out the direction that the front office is trying to take the Buccaneers, I cannot figure out where Baker Mayfield fits into it in a starting role. It makes no sense to me. But
they seem to be bringing in veterans. I guess he's a veteran in this league now, which makes me feel old a little bit. But
yeah, goodness.
That might just be let Kyle learn under. I'm sure he's probably a good teacher. He's not the best quarterback.
He seems like a good dude, maybe a little bit misunderstood.
Yeah, and he's matured since he first came in the league a lot. So he's, a more decent teammate to have, a more decent player to coach.
Well, hopefully, yeah, I can't picture the Bucs.
As a Saints fan,
yeah, you have to be.
I also love the idea of him starting for the Buccaneers. So, I mean, that might be part of. But
yeah, that's why you think that is because you want it to be true.
It would be fantastic. I think that would be fun.
Yeah, I can't blame you there. What else happened there? Who went to? Oh yeah, Taylor Heineke is moved to the Atlanta Falcons.
Right.
I love this
sucks because I really like Heineke,
and
I respect him, and always rooting for the underdog, and he's always not always, but he has performed well under pressure on big stages, and so it's like fun to cheer for him. But now, again, as a Saints fan, like I have to hate everything Falcons, so it's a tough tough dilemma I'm in.
Yeah, no,
But
I remember watching like DeMarco Murray go to the Eagles. Out of oh my god, that was almost a decade ago. That's crazy. But yeah, the flip can switch surprisingly fast, where you're just like, I love this person, and then I just don't want them to.
Yeah.
I suddenly don't want the best
I
one.
want to see you fail.
So that's exciting. I think he's one of very few quarterbacks that has actually been able to successfully captain the Washington Commanders / football team / R words. So it's like I was like, I don't know, are we dancing over it? I don't know what to do there, but he's one of the few guys. It's him and Kirk Cousins and literally no one else that's been able to like keep Washington functional for multiple years on end, and he's been doing it in spite of or despite a coach's front office benching him and basically hindering him at every chance they get, trying to put Carson Wentz in, Alex Smith. It goes back a while. I think this is a type of Brett Favre move, and he's called Brett Favre his hero. This has Brett Favre energy to it in terms of, early career trade. He's a little older now. I'm sure you love that as a Falcons narrative. Yeah.
Well, it's also Atlanta. That's where Favre started. So that's pretty cool.
He could be undoing the curse that resulted in 28-3.
You ain't got to do that.
This is it. It's time for Falcons glory. I'm sorry, Ethan. I'm sorry.
No. They can have the Atlanta United.
Okay.
Let them have soccer.
No, they're coming for you. Heineke's the next. Heineke's the next like Tony Romo type figure, undrafted. He's just going to rise. Okay. Gotcha. Maybe not like deep Super Bowl runs, but I do see Heineke as like a surprise 3 to 4 year starter. I don't see Desmond Ridder panning out, but that's neither here nor there. Keep taking us down the list of headlines. There's a lot to get to.
All right, we got Juju to the Patriots.
Okay, TikTok boy.
All right, yeah. I don't know. Patriots have been kind of quiet the past few seasons.
Yeah.
So just kind of chilling there, which I think we talked about last week with Belichick and his legacy.
Oh yeah, I mean this is high stakes for Belichick. Also, just off the top of my head, the Belichick way or the Patriot way, the New England way, feels like it could not be further removed from someone who uses the app TikTok as much as Juju Smith-Schuster. I'm excited to see what type of locker room frustration, coaching frustration. That feels like something that is going to blow up quick.
Yeah, that'll be fun. That'll be fun to watch. Panthers picked up Miles Sanders. Did we talk about that already?
I don't believe we did. I mean, briefly, not fully.
Yeah, I didn't see that coming at all. But that's a good move for the Panthers, I think. I think Miles Sanders is a very good running back. So that's interesting. It's he is now their entire offense.
Right, because that's what we were talking about. Maybe
they got to do something else. Like the poor guy's going to be running 40 times a game, averaging 2 yards, and just getting beat.
Yeah, I don't even know if it was on or off the podcast we were talking about it, but we were literally just talking about the fact that with DJ Moore gone, there is nothing left. So they just bring in.
They just shipped him out, and they were like, "Let's replace him with Miles Sanders, and then we'll be right back where we were." Except DJ Moore might be more useful.
Aside from, I mean, like, there's maybe a few teams that this could be more true of, but you literally just went from the second best team in the league to maybe the 30th. I mean, that is. In terms of like your career path, you have fallen off an absolute cliff. And it's like you don't even have you could take maybe a severe pay cut to stay in Philly. I don't even think that's something they were really trying that adamantly to do. So kind of against your will, you go from playing in a Super Bowl to that 99% chance of not playing a playoff
missing
game.
The playoffs.
Yeah. So let's see. Let's roll ahead. This is fun for you.
Yeah, we got a good bit of running back news.
Yeah, quiet. Like this, I don't know. It feels like the Saints are really going after a lot of people in free agency. So they pick up
Yeah,
Jamal
yeah.
Williams.
Well, I was very happy with this because another out of nowhere, but I really like Jamal Williams, and I think he's a very solid player, and we need with the uncertainty of Alvin Kamara for beating the tar out of a dude in Vegas. We got to have somebody that can step in and replace him if needed. So I think Jamal Williams is a good option for that. A lot of similarities between the two of them.
Yeah, there is a. I mean, based on the precedent, it feels like NFL disciplinarians have set. This feels like a 6 to 10 game suspension, maybe.
I think it's going to be 6, is what I've been seeing.
Okay, all
I
right,
know that seems like low end.
right, because we've seen the video.
We got video now.
We have the video. This is not a case like like Ezekiel Elliott's a few years ago where it's maybe pictures and a little bit of hearsay. This is
Which, I mean,
yeah.
you don't know what happened before the video, but
You sure do know what happened during
you
it.
know, what happened in the video is quite clear. So
Yeah.
well, it's not good.
Well, I mean, in the reality that it is 6 games, I guess that's probably what you're shooting for at this point. We bring in Jamal Williams, league leader in touchdowns, 17 touchdowns in 2022. That is on that. It feels like it's been years since we've had a running back that's put up more than a touchdown a game. So it feels if they can get to the point where they have a 2-back situation, that could be a top 1, 2, 3 running back duo in the NFL.
Well, right. And so if he is coming back in time to get warmed up and healthy for playoffs, I mean, that's pretty cool.
Man,
Assuming that we even touch playoffs, I'm not getting excited. Remember, I'm not getting excited.
No, I was about to support that. I've been telling you should get excited. I was going to hop in there and say, see, it sounds like you're finally gaining that semi-irrational fan confidence that you need. So,
it's happening.
It's coming. You can't stop it. And I even do. Dude, I've got the same thing going on. I have been so adamant about not wanting or not thinking the Cowboys can succeed next year, over the top about it. And then I just see they're like retaining most of their defense. And I'm like, oh, it's over for the NFC East. We're rolling.
Y'all did lose Zeke though.
Yep. Yeah, I guess that's the next discussion point. I don't have a speech prepared. It's yeah, I maybe I should have, but no, it's one of those players where like you grow up watching football and you're watching the team. You didn't see these people get drafted. You didn't see these people get traded to the team. 2016, Zeke is one of those early guys that I was sitting down watching the draft with my dad. Like when that happened, and it was like, this pick comes in. This is exactly what we wanted. And then first year he goes out and he exceeds those expectations. He is one of the most fun players I've ever watched. I'm crushed by this news. I really didn't think it was going to happen. I am so far removed from reality and statistics and data in thinking that, because I think anyone from any other team in the NFL would look at his numbers and be like, oh yeah, no, cut him because he's making way too much money. But of course, as a fan, it's just, that's my rant. It's Ezekiel Elliott moves on. Where do you think is a team that can afford and could genuinely utilize an older Ezekiel Elliott?
I don't know. It was an early, like right after he was released, the Saints were an early name for that, and I wasn't a fan of that. But I mean,
was that pre Jamal Williams that those headlines were swirling, or more recent?
It was before.
Okay.
Before, yeah. I really don't know, dude. That's because it's a really big price tag.
Well, now that he's free agent, like you might be able to. You might be able to outbid. What type of market does he really have? So bring him in. You could bring him in. Honestly, bring him in for the Kamara suspension. That feels like the right move. Have Jamal Williams, have Zeke come in on short yardage, and then week 8's the trade deadline. If it's not working out, trade him and pick up a 7th or something. So I'd love that. As a Cowboys fan that appreciates the Saints, I'd enjoy watching that.
Houston could use him.
Houston could use a lot of a lot of a lot
Houston
of
could
help. Yeah.
use pretty much everyone, honestly.
Yeah. Houston's fun. Man, I'm really struggling thinking of other teams. I guess this kind of points to him not being at the top of his game.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
can't picture teams really clamoring to get him, but Chiefs could be fun.
Chiefs could be fun.
Chiefs could be a lot of fun. Miami's got a whole super team thing going. They can get him for cheap. Jalen Ramsey. That would be
Yeah,
cool too, because I know there's a lot of Cowboys fans that really wanted the Cowboys to pick Ramsey instead of Zeke in that draft. So
yeah.
end up teammates. That'd be a fun outcome. But that is more than enough on a 28-year-old running back. we return to our regularly scheduled headlines. We've got Jimmy Garoppolo heading to Las Vegas. What a move! Break it down.
I like it. I like it. I like it a lot. I think he can do. Because he and Carr are pretty similar, and so my dad and I have always talked about how we like Jimmy and thought that he would be a fun quarterback to turn into your franchise guy, but we never really even got the chance to think about that realistically. But I think as a replacement for Carr, that's going to be a really good fit, and he could. I think he's a better leader than Carr, so that's what the Vegas needs right now.
It does feel a little bit like an almost 1-for-1 swap
Right.
with Carr and Garoppolo, but in that case that benefits them because that's a lot cheaper, a little bit riskier in terms of injury, but roughly the same age. No, it's a good move. It feels safe. It's affordable. I feel bad for Devontae Adams. A tough turnaround for him. In just a year.
Yeah, because he was Rodgers' number one guy, gets moved over, which that was a shocking move in itself. Because I mean, that's like we're talking about with Miles Sanders. I mean, that's just an immediate decline in your career.
Yeah,
and then now is getting another quarterback switch, and it's another, like, if anything, slight downgrade. That's tough.
I don't have the tweet pulled up, but Devontae Adams did tweet something along the lines of, it was like, if we haven't talked in the last 2 weeks, don't message me about this. I don't want to talk about it. So I guess he's trying to weed out he's trying to only talk to people that he's really close to, because I can only imagine just not happy at all that this has happened. But he also had a few weeks to prepare for it. I mean, he knew Derek Carr was out of town. I guess he was maybe just holding out hope that somehow Rodgers ended up in Las Vegas. I was big on that early in the offseason. I thought that's how it would go, because any wish list Aaron Rodgers assembles for the Jets, I feel like Devontae Adams by himself might exceed those four guys in terms of productivity. So, it's a weird move, but I hope that they're able to turn it around. It feels like maybe the 5th or 6th year of rebuild for Las Vegas, but that's life.
After that, I mean, they were one of those teams that you think of at the very bottom of the leaderboard, like all growing up.
Oh yeah,
for us, and then a few years ago finally came onto the scene a little bit, but they've kind of stagnant now. So maybe this is the thing.
And I gotta tell you, as a Saints fan, that should give you a lot of hope, because the only really clear marker in terms of bringing the Raiders from a Jags level, Browns level, Lions level organization to where they have been over the past 4 or 5 years is Derek Carr.
That's true.
So y'all are getting a great franchise player, man. I genuinely just let it seep in. Get excited. He is Super Bowl bound. That's the bar. So
I gave in and watched some highlights.
You've been watching some Carr highlights?
Yeah, and some deep bombs, and I was like, Olave would look pretty good catching those.
Dude, so it's happening.
It's happening. And it's only March.
Yeah. No, it is. There's an absolute it's highly measurable. The the off-season pattern of directly after playoff loss or missing the playoffs, how long it takes for the hopes to build. I do think, in my case, I'm ahead of schedule. It sounds like you are too. This is unhealthy.
Getting there, yeah.
That we're already that excited, but that's life. It's nothing we're not used to. So thanks for tuning in again. Next week, we will not reveal who, but we do have some guests coming on for a trivia smackdown. So
Smackdown.
Yeah, it is going to be violent. It's going to be high stakes, and it's you just got to tune in. You got to come back, check it out.
It should be a lot of fun.
All right, sounds good. This has been the Outside the Numbers podcast. Thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in, and we will be back with y'all next week for a trivia smackdown.